Hey everybody, this is Brad Bruce and I am here with
Jase Marsiglia.
and you're listening to the 5195 podcast.
Show me that smile again. That's the part I remember. Should I have started with a different one?
No, I thought you were going to keep going.
No, I've only got that. Hey, Brad,
Yeah.
what would you do
Mm-hmm.
if I sang out of tune?
I'd probably stand up.
You'd walk out on me? Would you go somewhere where everybody knew your name?
I'd like to.
Yeah, me too. What we're very poorly trying to segue into.
Hey, you mean masterfully.
Masterfully? Okay.
Yes. Tomato, potato. Okay?
Exactly. Tomato Assberg. So TV shows.
TV shows.
TV programs.
Programs.
Did you stay up and watch your stories?
Now, do you call them sitcoms?
Some. I don't know if I know the distinction. Because that's
A situation comedy.
right. It's shorthand for situation.
Like a Mary Tyler Moore or
Right.
like Cosby Show.
But what was their situation?
Well, let me see. Cosby had a OBGYN private practice in his basement.
He did. Pudding pops. So yeah, that's a situation, naturally.
Big time situation.
But no, I don't know. I've got a few. We talked about doing our chicken soup television shows, which are shows that we watch when we're in a bummer mood, and they kind of they're like a warm bath. You hear that theme song, or you see that aged look about it, and you're like, I'm back with old friends. And that's what we did.
That's what we did.
That's what we did. We came up with five, right?
5. Let me go first.
You want to go first?
I want to go first.
You do the first.
So the first one for me is Emergency.
Is this with William Shatner?
No.
What was his?
Rescue 911.
That was his?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Emergency, that was a scripted show,
Yes.
right? Okay.
It was Randolph Mantooth and Robert Teague.
Okay.
Yeah. Like early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I was like infatuated with just the sounds. And I know people that are fans, they can hear the alarm going off, them jumping in the Squad 51 and hauling off down the street to the call.
Now, what was it, though? Was this police, fire?
Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, they were firemen. It was Station 51 in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was
Just 3 doors down from Car 54.
yes.
Got it.
Yes. Fucking rad show. It wasn't deep.
No?
Like it never got deep. I mean, there were times things would happen, but, for the most part, it was just lighthearted. It was written really well.
Laugh track?
No
Okay.
laugh track. No laugh track. It was more drama,
Okay.
than comedy, but there were lots of lighthearted moments, especially at the fire station, them busting each other's chops.
Yeah.
You know, that was cool. And then there was a couple of characters at the hospital that were regulars as well.
Okay.
One of them was Trixie, who was the nurse. She was fucking pretty rad.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember watching it as a kid and like, fuck, I love this show. But it didn't really become something special to me until my ex-wife started working for CAL FIRE. Now, that has nothing to do with it just because she was a dispatcher for a fire department, but it's because she was gone at work and me and my son, it was just me and my oldest daughter and my son. My youngest one wasn't born yet.
Okay.
My oldest daughter was like in her room doing her own thing. Didn't care. But we would like always make it a point to like, grab dinner, and then me and him would watch Emergency
No shit.
every night.
Okay.
So it was kind of our thing. That's when it really became special to me.
Well, yeah, because now you're sharing something with your kids.
Yeah, and it was cool because I watched it with my dad.
That's even cooler.
Yeah. And then
now you're passing it on.
yeah, and now I'm watching it with my son.
Yeah.
That's my first one.
Okay.
Emergency. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. It's actually pretty fun.
Do you have it?
I do.
DVD, Blu-ray?
DVD.
Okay. Is it the whole set?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it was available.
It's available. Yeah.
Okay. My first one is a show I've never talked about on this program at all. I don't care who says to the contrary, but a little known show called Sightings.
Yeah, no, you never brought that up before. Yeah.
That's why I opened with it, because I'm like, I've talked about it before.
Telemundo, right?
Yeah, Telemundo.
Okay.
Sightings.
Say.
Border sightings. Sorry. Aliens.
Little orange men.
Oh boy, the stubby fingers. No, I have get the invisible accordion. It goes in, it comes out. It's beautiful. It can change shape. It does all sorts of things. Boy, on these mics, that sounds pretty good. That wasn't a bad impression. No, I started with Sightings because I've brought it up before, but it was a show that really doesn't get much syndication. I think the only way right now, as of this recording, the only way you can watch it is maybe YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm. It's never gotten a physical drop?
No, but no, Sightings was a terrifying show when I was a kid. Watched it every fucking weekend. Didn't matter what the topic was. It could be something as outlandish as fucking Loch Ness, but I mostly watched it for ghost stories or abduction stories.
Yeah.
That was one that I think it's because it's so rare. I still hold on to it because it's hard to find and it's hard to recapture that kind of horror.
Right.
Because the show really did a great job of reenactments. The only other thing I could compare it to would be Unsolved Mysteries was on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Unsolved Mysteries reenactments always had kind of that glassy fog around it. And it was like, you knew you were watching a reenactment. Whereas even on Sightings, even though you knew you were watching a reenactment, between the music and the effects work or whatever, it always was way scarier.
Cinematic.
Very, but it was like, yikes.
Yeah.
And of course, this was long before, stuff like found footage became a thing. So even if the stuff that they were showing and purporting was fake or real, whatever, it looked fucking real. I tuned in on that every Friday. I think it was a lead into the X-Files on Fox. So you got a good 2-hour block of paranormal fuckery. But yeah, I just figured I'd touch on that one first because it does feel like home when I watch it. It takes me back to early 90s. I might have been 10 when it came out. I think you mentioned Physical Media. They released 3 tapes in the 90s.
That's it.
3 tapes. And one was the Ghost Report, the UFO Report, and the Psychic Experience.
Wow.
That's it.
Out of a whole show.
Yeah, and it was on for like 9 years, I think.
Jeez.
So, I mean, I talked to Henry Winkler once at a con and told him I was a huge fan because he was like an executive producer. And I asked him about it and he said, we're bringing it back. So I don't know what that means. Like, is it going to come back as a new show? Kind of a reboot sort of thing. But I really wanted a home video release. Yeah. I want like a Sightings box set really bad. Of all the ones on this list that I'm going through, it's the only one I've never been able to obtain of a legit copy because I have bought Blu-rays off of private collectors who have burned VHS tapes.
Okay.
And the quality's really good, but it's not the series. It's the episodes that they had, which I've probably got 80 or so.
Okay.
I've got a decent swath.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a legitimate Paramount produced box set.
Yeah.
Or anybody for that matter. But just a great terrifying little, what do you call it? Almost like a tabloid show, but for the paranormal.
For sure.
Pretty cool shit. So that's my first one.
Okay. Well, my number 4 is a show that's very important to me.
Okay.
And I feel got a raw deal.
Ooh.
And
those make me sad.
Yeah. It was introduced to me by a friend who recently passed away. So he and I used to watch it all the time. And then we actually lived together and we rewatched the series again. And then I introduced it to my kids and now they absolutely love it as well.
No kidding.
And I actually, before you came out, I just rewatched the whole series again.
Wow.
And that's My Name is Earl.
Oh, great show. Great show.
The writing and like just the way the continuity overlaps from different shows is smart.
Incredibly well thought out.
Yeah. Really fun show. Great characters.
Big heart.
Yeah. Man, it was just one of those shows that I'm like, this could go on forever because that list.
That was one of the things I remember noticing was even in the first and second seasons, he'd have his list and you're like, okay, well, there could be as many episodes as there are on that list.
Mm-hmm.
He'd add to the list or modify the list. Sometimes he'd lose the list. It was like the list wasn't ironclad. So it was like, wow, they're really finding ways to prolong what he's trying to do.
And the show got the biggest raw deal because it ended on the biggest cliffhanger ever.
No way.
And it was like, who were the actual fathers of Joy's kids?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and I believe it was Dodge. They found out who his dad was. And they had always thought it was Earl.
Uh-huh.
And then they literally found out, and that was going to be the season cliffhanger, and it never came back.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
And it's like there's been certain things like, not so much anymore, but like a couple of years after the show ended where the creator, I can't remember his name.
Me neither.
Something Greg, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying Greg Garcia?
Mike Brady.
I think it was Mike Brady. They said they were thinking about doing a movie. My Name is Earl movie to end the show properly.
Kind of give it its Project Alf.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just to give it that send off.
Just better.
Obviously that never materialized. And the show just went away, but it still lives on because, it's still very much a popular show because you had said that they're all going to be appearing at a show out by you.
Oh, Astronomicon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire cast is going to be out there.
Yep.
Jason Lee,
Jamie,
Eddie Steeples, Ethan,
Crabman.
Yeah,
that's
Eddie
Steeples.
Yeah, they're all going to be there.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
yeah. No, I mean, there's an audience for it. Man, it really grabbed people.
Tim Stack was a executive producer on that show.
I love Tim Stack.
Yeah, he was executive producer, and obviously he played himself, like a raging alcoholic version of himself, where he dressed as his character from Sons of the Beach.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
he had a show. I know this is a little bit of a segue, but did you remember? Was it called Night Call? The fake Jerry Springer, fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, Tim Stack's a national treasure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, My Name is Earl was a fantastic show.
Fantastic show.
I definitely, I jumped onto that one quick.
Did you?
I was already a big fan of Jason Lee because of the Smith movies.
Yeah.
Huge Mallrats fan, Chasing Amy.
It's crazy. I was actually a Jason Lee fan when he was a pro skateboarder before he became famous.
Yeah.
Growing up here in, Southern California, it was like, all those guys were super popular. We would always go to skate demos at shops and malls and stuff like that. And, I remember, the signature Jason Lee shoes and his own deck. And, and now it's like, holy fuck, now he's becoming an actor.
Yeah. He fucking excelled. Like, he's amazing. He's a great actor. And
one of the most talented actors ever.
Without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
And now he just wants to make with the photos.
Yeah, he did. What was it? He's just photography mostly.
Photography. He opened a store, I believe, in Eagle Rock.
No shit.
Camera store, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, that's my number 4 because it's cool. It's like it's kind of like a, my friend showed me, and then I showed my kids.
Yeah.
And now they still love the show.
It was a good one. It was good. I didn't know it ended on a cliffhanger. I don't remember that.
Terrible cliffhanger.
I hate it when shows do that. I did make a joke about Project Alf and.
Yeah.
How do you end a family sitcom with a puppet with the government sweeping down with guns drawn and they're just like, no next week.
Yeah.
No next season. Alf was dissected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the, whatever the family was he lived with, they're probably suicided for knowing too much. That's the logical conclusion to Alf.
I think it was the neighbor.
The Ochmonix?
Yeah,
why do I remember her fucking name?
She
the nosy bitch.
She ratted him out.
She ratted him out.
She lived with, this is a talk about a fucking way sidetrack. She lived with Martin Landau and James Dean in New York.
The actress?
Yes.
No shit.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Crazy.
Fucking Ochmonix. Nosy bastards.
So hot.
My next one is Night Court.
Okay.
Which I loved. I absolutely loved Night Court. That was part of the old must-see TV Thursday night.
Okay, how old were you?
For Night Court,
Yeah.
it premiered when I was 2.
Okay.
I probably didn't get into it till about 6 or 7.
Okay.
So that's near a few years prior to its end.
Okay.
Because it was on, I think, 9 years.
It's a good run. That's a pretty interesting show for like a 6 or 7-year-old to latch onto.
I thought so too.
Because they don't deal in childlike themes.
Not at all. And my number 1, when we get to it, same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what drew me to it.
Yeah.
It was funny. It wasn't kid funny, but it was like, I just enjoyed being around these colorful characters, because everyone was unique. Everyone was funny in their own way. I probably related more to Bull's childlike innocence, but it was a funny show, and I just enjoyed being there. And I liked the set, the courtroom set. It always looked kind of decrepit, very inner city.
But Harry was also very welcoming.
He was
and kind.
And that was the thing. It was watching him see past whatever grit and grime was being brought in front of him was warm. It was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And, the humanizing moments that Dan would have.
Right.
Because he was, he's the pussy hound of the show.
Right.
He's just constantly getting laid or
right.
trying to get laid. He was great. And, that was one of the things. I mean, John Larroquette he was amazing anyway. Still is.
Oh, yeah.
That show recently, it's been rebooted. I think it's going into its 4th or 5th year.
God damn.
I know. I was really surprised that it took. And it is funny. It's a good show. It is funny. You know what's funny? If you watch them back to back, it doesn't feel the same, but it does.
Okay.
Because it's still kind of wacky.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the heart of the show is still John Larroquette.
Okay.
He kind of took over. I don't want to say he's like the Harry of the show, because it's Harry's daughter who's the judge now.
Right.
The little blonde girl from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And she gets Dan back this time as a defense attorney instead of a prosecutor. So now he's looking after the dregs of society and trying to put them away. The first episode alone had some amazing moments where he was just reflecting on his friendship with Harry and what Harry meant to him.
Right.
And that Harry's death, which they did write into the show, affected him deeply.
Okay.
Deeply. And it changed his life. And we catch up with Dan. He's a widower. He actually did find the love of his life, had a very beautiful marriage. And now it's just kind of a sad, broken man with no purpose. And Harry's daughter is like, I could give you purpose again. Come work for me, doing the same thing, same courthouse. And he's got to kind of find a way to, do I want to open myself up again? You know what I mean? Because I've been hurt too often.
Right.
And it's such a far cry from what Dan used to be, but Larroquette still maintains that sarcasm. It's still very much Dan.
Yeah.
It's just the kinder, gentler Dan, almost like when Archie's Place came out, and Archie was, he's still a curmudgeon, but he's got that little kid now, and you see the softer side.
Right.
So it's comparable. But yeah, Night Court, it just always felt like home. It really did, in a big, big way. And that was one that, I've got a season or 2 on DVD. Back home, it plays on a local station from like 9 to 10.
Okay.
Just 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
We found ourselves watching it for a couple of runs.
Yeah.
Until it restarted. But it was just, it's great. I love Night Court. That's just good old fashioned sitcom goodness.
Yeah, I love the show. I've always loved Night Court.
Yeah. No, I think you should give the new one a shot.
Yeah, I will.
If nothing else, watch the first episode and see if it grabs you.
Yeah.
Just to see where are they now.
Well, because I was actually surprised when you said that it was like 5 hours.
Yeah, no, it's been on for a minute now because
or 5 seasons in.
Yeah, because I personally was like, I love this. I love that they brought it back. I don't think there's an audience for Night Court anymore.
Right.
And clearly I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be wrong.
Well, 5 seasons in, that's, yeah.
Now you've reached syndication.
Yep.
They'll play you on Nick at Night now if you want.
Naked what?
Naked Night.
Oh, okay. Naked Nate.
Yeah, it's like a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. It is Tuesday, man. Get those underwears off.
Get them tacos out.
Whoa.
Sorry, what? Who was that?
My number 3 is based around your neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Freaks and Geeks.
Really? I've never watched it. Never watched it.
You never, ever watched it.
I've heard nothing but good things.
This is the Goldbergs with Edge.
Okay.
All right.
Because I do love the Goldbergs.
Yeah, it's not as... I think Goldbergs, they're a little more satirical.
Yes. No, it's a little more extreme.
Yeah, there's Edge with this one.
Goldbergs also makes fun of the fact that it's the 80s.
Yeah.
Like it comes at the 80s from a self-aware
And here, yeah, exactly.
point of view.
Right. And I actually... And I think Freaks and Geeks is like supposed to be like 80, 81, I think.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, early 80s, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, and it just deals with the Weir family. Lindsay Weir, the oldest daughter, Sam Weir, and then their parents, who are, they genuinely love each other. The dad is played by Joe Flaherty.
Love Joe Flaherty.
And there's an amazing fucking Easter egg where for one Halloween, Joe Flaherty puts on a Dracula cape.
Oh, fucking cool.
Yeah.
Count Scary,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Is that SCTV?
SCTV, yeah.
Okay.
And the Geek's favorite movie is Stripes. And Joe Flaherty is one of the guards.
That's great.
In what I think with Levy, Eugene Levy,
Uh-huh.
and Joe Flaherty are the guards in Stripes.
Yes.
But yeah,
also with David Arquette.
David Arquette.
I don't even want to keep this one. John Larroquette.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, so Stripes, the Bob Marley story, is the kid's favorite movie.
I want to kill myself.
And is the kid's favorite movie in Freaks and Geeks. But again, it deals with the Weir family and, you know, the youngest, Sam, being a geek.
Yeah.
Lindsay was a geek, but is trying to find herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets attracted to the bad kids.
Okay.
You know, the ones that, you know, smoke weed and, you know, drink and party and fake IDs and, you know.
The super bads.
The fun shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she sort of dons her dad's old, you know, military jacket and tries to cross over. And of course, they're kind of kicking her tires a little bit, kind of putting her through the ringer while she, you know, tries to make this leap. But she inevitably does, and they do accept her. And it is sweet because she is trying to find herself.
Yeah.
But she does get into some shit with these kids, and it's kind of, how fucking dare you, you know, I trust you and you manipulate me and take advantage of me. And,
ooh,
you know,
okay.
And then after this, you know, this whole detrimental thing happens between, you know, her and her friends. And she's like, fuck this. I'm just going back to my old ways. It's not worth it, you know?
Really? Okay.
But then they kind of show her they're sorry in a very sweet way, in their way.
Sure.
You know? And it is like, there's a lot of sweet moments in the show. And, you know, it deals with a lot of like pretty intense shit. It's like one of the kids' dads is like cheating on his mother, and they find out in a very hurtful way.
No shit.
Well, he finds out in a very hurtful way. And then when he tells his older brother who comes back from college, he's just like, yeah, I know. And it's like, he's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we got to tell mom. He's like, she kind of knows.
Oh, wow.
You know? So it's like, fuck.
So you're going through this alone.
Yeah. Like I said, it is edgier than the Goldbergs because it
Sure.
deals with some pretty impactful life altering shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it is, like I said, it's a really fun show, and it does kind of feel like two shows in one because you're dealing with the geeks,
Yeah.
and then you're dealing with the freaks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the geeks are like just going to high school, and then the freaks are in high school,
Yeah.
you know, so you get like two perspectives, and it's very interesting. Soundtrack is fucking amazing. Someone made a Spotify list,
Nice.
and it's like every song from opening credit to when the show ended.
Wow.
And it plays in order.
No shit.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool.
It sounds to a degree like Dazed and Confused.
It does have those tones.
Is it comparable?
Yes, it definitely has those tones.
Okay.
The same heart.
Yeah.
It does, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
For sure. So yeah, and it's one of those things where I watched it in its initial run, and then I bought it when it came out on DVD,
Mm-hmm.
and then now my kids watch it. And I was watching that simultaneously with My Name is Earl before you came out.
No shit.
So it is one of those things where I do revisit those shows quite often throughout the year.
Okay.
Kind of like the way you do, like with Night Court, you'll run it. If
Yeah.
it's on, you're going to go through it.
I'm just going to barrel through the series.
Yeah, I highly recommend you give it a watch.
Yeah.
And I will say this, like I've said it with Tina so many times. I am so envious that you get to watch that for the first time.
Oh, yeah. No, I love vicariously watching something through somebody new.
Yeah, so like that's the thing is like when you start watching it, like let me know what you think.
Of course.
Because I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix or Hulu. It's on one of the two.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm definitely going to. I'm even looking at your set right now.
Oh, do you see it? Yeah.
It's like a Shout Factory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I did have, and it was just too much to deal with, but they released a special edition yearbook, and it looked like a yearbook, and it had all kinds of cool shit in it, but I'm just like, it didn't look good on a shelf.
No.
I had nowhere to put it.
Got it.
It didn't look right on a bookshelf. So my weird collector brain was like, I'll sell it.
You did have it though.
I had it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's green and it has like the McKinley High embossed logo on it. It looked like a yearbook.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, because I couldn't just set it up here, and open and fan it out. It just wouldn't look right.
Sure. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my number 3.
Okay. My number 3, I'm going to go with, and I'm putting it dead center, but it's probably the funniest show I've ever watched. And that would be MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. And it's funny in such a rewarding way, a lot like Naked Gun or even Police Squad, another criminally short-lived show that could have made the list, but I just kind of lump it in with Naked Gun and all that.
Right.
But this is a show from the 80s. MXC is from the early 2000s, I believe, back when Spike TV was new.
Oh my God.
You remember Spike?
I do.
Okay, so Spike TV put this show out, and what it was Spike had bought the entire run of an 80s program called Takashi's Castle.
Okay.
And basically Takashi's Castle was like American Gladiators or Wipeout, where it was just, you'd start with like 100 people and they'd be put through these gauntlets, and whoever lost was done until you whittled it down to the last people.
Yeah.
Squid Games. But what they did, they got 2 or 3 cast members to do voiceover. So they've repurposed all the dialogue so that it sounds ridiculous.
Right.
And you basically get to watch. First, you're laughing at the fact that these people are getting blasted into oblivion by these stupid, what are they called?
It's like an obstacle course.
Through an obstacle course. And so you're laughing already because it's just people falling down and getting hurt and falling into mud and all this. And it's funny for the physical aspect. But I've told people, because I've had it on before while I was working and I was just listening to it, and I'm still laughing my ass off because the announcers are fucking hilarious. So if you're laughing already at somebody falling off of something, you're missing a joke potentially, because even the contestants' names are ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's always a Baba Ganoush.
Yeah.
Here comes Stephen Baba Ganoush. Every episode, at least one Baba Ganoush.
Yeah.
And the contestant will get up to the platform, and whoever was on the show in the 80s, they'd throw a fist in the air and say something. I don't know what the fuck they really said, but like on this show, they're just kind of like, I wipe my own ass, then they go flying into the fucking mud.
I wipe my own ass.
I wipe my own ass.
Oh my God.
That
is fucking awesome.
There's the guy who runs the course. He's Captain Tennille. And then they always have Kenny Blankenship's most painful eliminations of the day, and they go through the top 10 most brutal falls and hits, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's easily the funniest show I've ever seen, if only because laugh per minute, it's almost nonstop.
Jeez.
Almost non-fucking stop.
I've never seen an episode.
Ever?
Ever.
We're changing that tonight.
Yeah, I've never seen an episode.
We're changing it tonight, and I'm telling you right now, you are going to plow through it.
Yeah.
Like a bull in a china shop, because it is our type of shit.
Oh my God.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, the jokes are dirty as fuck most of the time. It's just the way they repurpose everything. It's like, that's not what this show was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah.
But it's fucking great. And I can't imagine you not laughing at this.
Yeah.
It's just.
No, I mean, everything so far just sounds like right up my alley. Just like check. Like, yeah, okay.
It's 20 minutes of the stupidest shit, and you're going to fucking love it. And it was on, I believe, 5 seasons.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So there's a lot of funny coming your way.
And it's constantly funny.
Literally, like I said, you're going to laugh through jokes.
Wow.
To where if we watched episode 1, we could go back and watch episode 1 again, back to back, and you're going to laugh at something
Oh my God.
you missed. You know what I mean?
I love that kind of quick-witted humor.
Oh, it's nonstop. Non-fucking stop. I can't.
And the original show was not like this.
Not at all.
Oh, what a genius idea.
No, it's basically, what was the Woody Allen movie? What's Up, Tiger Lily?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, where
Yeah.
he just redubbed.
Yes.
Was it like a Japanese spy movie? And he made it to where that the spy, all these people are dying to get the recipe for.
Right.
Was it like a potato salad?
Didn't Steve Martin do something like that too? With Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid? Where he would add in old movies?
You might be right. That does sound familiar.
It's a black and white movie.
But I know he starred in it too.
Yeah.
So was it a mixture? It's been a long time.
Steve Martin starred in it too. Steve Martin played like a detective.
Right.
Where, yeah, but he would add in these old clips from like
No shit. Okay.
50s movie, like Humphrey Bogart's in it, and he's acting opposite them.
Okay. No, I didn't.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Probably too young to realize.
Probably.
That's what
Yeah,
happened.
probably.
But it's similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically.
I love that kind of shit.
It's a whole episode of basically their American Gladiators, essentially, and it's fucking fall down.
Oh my
funny.
God.
I mean, Brad, one of the characters, one of the gladiators, I suppose you could say, his name is the Green Teabagger.
Oh. Wow.
He's been grabbed by the Green Teabagger. He's taking a teabag in like you've never seen before.
Holy fuck.
And it's fucking hilarious. I mean, people will, they run across these spinning logs.
Yeah.
And some people get caught where they're like hands on one, feet on the other, ass in the air. And the announcers will be like, oh, he's found himself in a full San Quentin.
Wow.
That's the move of full San Quentin.
This is fucking crazy.
I'm telling you, bro. You talked about vicariously watching something.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to show you.
Yeah.
This is going to be the best 20 minutes of your entire fucking day.
Oh, fuck. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that.
MXC, just pure balls to the wall comedy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you not enjoying that.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's my number 3, I believe.
All right. So what do you got? 2 left?
I have 2 left.
Okay. As do I. So my next one is The Wonder Years.
Probably one of the greatest shows ever.
It is one of the greatest shows ever made. And
ever made.
I am so like caught up with this show because Kevin Arnold and myself are roughly the same age.
Yes. He was ahead of me.
Yeah. So even though his was in the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
we were still the same age.
Yes.
So when I was going into junior high, so was he.
Yeah.
So it was like all this stuff he was dealing with. In a weird way, I was dealing with it too.
Yeah.
Whether it be girls or just family or even dad, because my dad was a hard-edged man where it was like, I don't really want to be bothered right now.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yep.
I'm not saying my dad wasn't warm, but it was few and far between the moments.
Sure.
He still told me he loved me and he cared about me, but it wasn't every day and it wasn't perfect.
It was enough that when you saw Kevin's dad soften,
Yeah.
It was a big moment,
Yeah.
a real big moment.
Yep. And it was from jump. It was from day one to the very end. I watched every bit of it.
Me too.
And it was almost like we got our license at the same time. And,
Man.
you know, we went to high school together. It was fucking weird. It got to the point to where when it was in high school, me and my friends would get together and we would all watch it. You know, it was weird because I started watching it with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would watch it with my mom. It was like me and my mom made a point to watch it all the time. And then when I got into high school, I started watching it with my friends.
Yeah.
They were all into it, you know? And it was just such a communal show. You know, it wasn't something that like we acted out or played or anything like that, but it was just like
it didn't lend itself to that.
it didn't. No,
You
it
know.
didn't. No, but it was just like we're watching ourselves on TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that we were represented for the first time. We like that wasn't slapsticky, wasn't silly over the top.
No.
It was real life shit, and it was like we were represented, and it felt so cool to be able to identify with that.
Yes.
You know,
And you did, because
Yeah.
it was like we were all experiencing our first loves.
yeah,
Bullies, older brother. I didn't have any older brothers, but Wayne
yeah,
was like your bully.
yeah.
Hilarious bully.
Yeah.
I did like Wayne.
I had a Wayne.
He was just stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you had themes like, you know, people going to Vietnam,
and not coming back.
either not coming back or coming back different.
Yeah.
Affected.
Wayne's friend.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, absolutely.
He's that guy is a very talented voiceover actor.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that what a beautiful show. And it's the only show in recent memory. I can't think of another one that made me cry.
Yeah.
And affected me bad the next day,
Mm-hmm.
or for the next few days even.
Right.
And it was you'll know the episode, but it's the one where the math teacher, I think he was,
Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins.
Yeah.
He really pressed hard into Kevin because he saw potential, and Kevin went off on him, and you could see that it hurt the guy. And then the next day he came in to take his test, and Mr. Collins had died.
Yeah.
The previous night. And I feel it in my chest right now.
For sure.
Because
yeah, because that's how impactful that show was.
It was, and it was so fucking sad. And I remember as a kid taking that lesson, which I still carry with me to this day, about the last thing you say to someone, it better be good.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not,
Absolutely.
you won't get it back.
Absolutely.
You may not get to apologize.
No.
You know.
No.
And it was coupled with like a Linda Ronstadt song where he looks back in the classroom and you
that
see
shot. Oh,
where the sun's coming in and
yeah.
Mr. Collins is at his desk. And I just, man, my hair's standing up just thinking about it. It broke my heart.
Absolutely.
And, I think of that episode when I think of that show.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that really dropped a bomb on me and made me grow up a little.
Yeah.
You know, but so many episodes did that.
Right. Right.
Yes, you and I didn't grow up in a time where we knew people going to Vietnam.
Right.
But we understood that this was heavy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We understood what it was like to lose somebody, or the fear of losing somebody. It's just weird because I think of the song by Bryan Adams, The Summer of '69.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me nostalgic for a time that I wasn't around. And that's what Wonder Years was. I didn't grow up in the 60s or 70s, but you felt like you did because it was by proxy.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin was us.
Right.
Just learning to grow up and deal with life. And man, yeah, it's a haunting show, but it's a beautiful show.
It's a beautiful show. Like I only have one problem with it.
What's that?
The ending.
I remember the parade.
The parade on the 4th of July, because Kevin and Winnie come back because they both got fired because of Kevin. She was working at a resort.
Okay.
And he followed her up there and he caught her kissing some other dude.
Uh-huh.
And so they both got fired and they had no way to get home. So they were hitchhiking.
Okay.
And there was like a lot of tension between them two. And they always alluded that that was the first time they ever slept together, when they found shelter in this little barn in the rain.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next day was the parade.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, it was just, I didn't need for the dad to die.
Yeah.
Like there was no reason for it. You know what I mean? Because it was like, at the end of the day, this dude was literally the time of his death, he was literally in his mid-50s. And he was eating shit at Norcom to support his family.
Yeah.
And then he got his furniture business and was actually happy. You know, and I'm like, why end it that way? Because here's the thing, flash forward to today, 2025, they're all alive.
Every character.
They could do a reboot of that show. They could do a catch-up to that show.
Sure.
And they're all alive. And the dad still looks good. The mom still looks good.
Yeah.
You know, they all do.
Oh, the sister sure does.
Oh, amen. And Winnie?
Oh, God.
She looks the fucking same.
Winnie Cooper, what's her name? Danica McKellar?
Yeah.
She's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
She's the crush that grew up to remain a crush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
Well, and there were some great people in it, like Giovanni Ribisi was in it.
Yep.
You know, there were some good cameos.
I believe the sister's boyfriend for a long time was David Schwimmer.
It was, yeah.
And I can't remember.
They actually ended up getting married.
Was he a draft dodger?
No.
What was his
No,
deal?
they were just hippies. He was going to school.
Uh-huh.
They left after they got married because he got a job in Alaska.
Is that what it was?
And they moved to Alaska.
Okay, I remember a move. And
Yeah,
I didn't know if he was
they moved to
going off
Alaska.
war.
No, they moved to Alaska because he got a job.
Was it Winnie's brother that went to Vietnam? And
Yeah, Brian Cooper.
yeah.
I know too much about this, yo.
Yeah, no, we have the entire series at home.
Yeah.
I've wanted so bad to get my kids into it, but because my daughter, Jacob's kind of indifferent.
Okay.
He's still at the age where he's like, if it's not superheroes or animated, I don't really care, which I get. But Maddie, when she heard that it was the only show on television that made her father cry, she's like, well, then I'll be a fucking mess. She's like, I'm not even going to bother. And I'm like, Maddie, just watch it. It's such a good show. You'll get sucked right in.
I mean, those moments are few and far between.
They're not, yeah. And the thing is, the one that killed me, I was very young. Very young. She'd be sad, because it is a sad moment, but I don't think it would have the effect on her that it did me when I was little. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, the Mr. Collins thing was just...
And if you remember that Mr. Collins, he was actually, he was there for a couple shows.
He was.
So they were leading up to him.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? The moment that really stuck to me in those episodes when he was like, I thought we were friends. And he was like, I'm not your friend, I'm your teacher.
I know. Yep.
You know, and it's just like, holy smokes. Like, that was fucking crazy. And that's what it really made him mad, you know?
Yeah.
He treated him bad, and then he ended up passing away.
And it...
Yeah. And the actor that played him, Mr. Collins, he played him to the T.
He did. And he's another character actor.
Yeah, he's a character actor.
Showed up in everything.
Yeah.
Great guy, good comedic actor. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we joke about this a lot, but he's Mike Brady's partner.
That's right.
In the movies.
The movie.
Right?
Yes.
The 90s movies.
He is.
But yeah. I loved that guy.
Yeah.
And he was cool in everything he was in, but my first thing I ever saw him in was The Wonder Years.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I'm 42 years old and I still get a lump in my throat thinking about that moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I watched it the other day and it still got me.
Yeah, it's so
and you know it's coming.
I know, that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
And it's like, here we go. Do I fast forward? No, I take that journey again.
No, man, you gotta let that one wash over.
Yeah,
you,
you have to.
know?
Yep. So.
No, beautiful pick.
Yeah, Wonder Years is number 2. So I only have one left.
Okay, well, my number 2
is your poop.
It's a duty. Perfect Strangers. Larry and Balky. This was, I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I want to say this was a show that was part of the first iteration of what ABC used to call TGIF, because we don't do TGIF anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a sad, not that I would watch it, just having grown out of it.
Right.
But TGIF was like 2 hours where the family could be a family and just watch sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's gone just shows how disconnected families are from each other now, because everyone's in their phone or they're on the iPad, whatever. And it's like, it's sad to know that it's gone, but I'm glad to know that I was a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say TGIF began with Full House, Perfect Strangers, Mr. Belvedere, and then Just the 10 of Us, which Just the 10 of Us, I believe, was a Growing Pains spinoff, because I think the dad was like the Seavers coach at high school. And Just the 10 of Us had some Elm Street alumni in it, like Heather Langenkamp and stuff. So yeah, it was a fun quartet. But the one that really stood out to me was Perfect Strangers, because it was physical comedy. It was slapstick comedy. Larry and Balky were cousins. Balky came from a fictional island called Mypos, which is just ass backwards, like a shepherding community. He comes to America with his broken English to live with Larry, who's in Chicago, who's like a perpetual worrier. And of course, they learn, Balky teaches Larry to just enjoy life for what it is and quit worrying all the time. Larry tries to help Balky understand American culture. But the situations they'd wind up in were just so ridiculous that it's comparable to Laverne and Shirley, The Odd Couple. It's that kind of thing, probably with more Laverne and Shirley's physicality, because these shows they were ridiculous. You know,
Right,
there was one.
right.
One of my favorite episodes is the one where they both get bullied in a restaurant. So they decide to take karate.
Yeah.
And it shows like, what is it, 3 weeks later, whatever. Balky's dressed as a ninja hiding in the apartment and Larry's trying to sneak in. You know, they've like set up traps for each other and just ridiculously stupid shit. But it was such a funny show. That's one that it had a brief couple of stints in syndication where I could be on like summer break and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, Perfect Strangers is on at like 8:30 in the morning on this random channel.
Yeah.
So I got to see it again here and there, but for the most part, no. I was able through Warner Archive to buy the entire series on DVD.
Oh, really?
So they have all 8 seasons.
That must have been pricey as hell.
It was.
Yeah.
Luckily, seasons 1 and 2 and 7 and 8 are the same set.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's only because season 1 of Perfect Strangers was like 6 episodes. Season 8 was probably only about 6 episodes because ABC had canceled it after season 7. And it's one of the earliest shows in my memory where fan outcry was so big that ABC kind of lamented and was like, fine, we'll do like a handful more just to shut you up. So the last 6, 7, 8 episodes, whatever it was a very short season. It was like a here, so you'll go away season.
Okay.
And it wasn't great. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it was like, you could tell that
it was over.
It was over. And, you know, but it was cool though. The power of the pen brought it back for a minute, which nowadays we see that happen all the time. Shows getting picked up by Netflix or what have you. But no, Perfect Strangers was just good, innocent, stupid fun. And, yeah, I some of the hardest laughs I ever had as a little kid came from that show.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, between Bronson Pinchot and Mark Lynn Baker being polar opposites, it was so funny. It was great. And a lot of people remember, you know, the Bibi Botka rhyme when they would make the little pies or whatever it was. And if you didn't do it a certain way, they would blow up. And of course, Larry wanted to crank these out and make money. So at the end, if you remember, they're in an apartment full of Bibi Botkas and all of them are systematically exploding all around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 2 because man, what a fucking great show. And I'm glad that as of now, who knows when you guys are listening because it's like a rotating door. But if you have the free Pluto app, Perfect Strangers is playing on Pluto on some channel. Me and you were watching it together one night.
Same
just
time.
Cracking the fuck up. Was it New Year's Eve? I think it was New Year's Eve.
It was the hurricane episode.
Yes. Where
they went to an island.
It was supposed to be this beautiful resort and it was just a fucking shit pit.
Yep.
They go into, what was it? I think one of the girls goes into the bathroom and screams. And she goes, there's something in the tub. And Larry's like, enough, calm down. I'm sure it's just a bug. It's a tropical island. And he goes in and all of a sudden you see him come out and he goes, maybe if we wait long enough, it'll die. Like it was whatever the fuck was in the tub.
Oh, it's so good.
Great shit.
Hell yeah. Good pick, man.
Thank you.
My number 1 is Three's Company.
Wonderful show.
Yeah. Everything about it. And I watched it with my brother. That was our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And man, everything about that show was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The girls,
gorgeous.
Jack's physical comedy.
Genius.
The stories were so silly and outlandish.
Remember that one where there was a misunderstanding?
It's so good. That's so good. Like that was the gist of every episode.
Yes.
Was just the double entendre.
Every time. And it worked every time.
Every single time. But the show also had heart.
Yes, it did.
You know,
these friends would do anything for each other.
They absolutely would. I watched the initial run, but not right out the gate.
No.
Because I think it was like 78
Yes.
when it started.
Yep.
I didn't get on board until like easily like 80 is when I got on board, you know.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
80, 81 when I was really like, I like this show.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the fuck is going on, but I like watching the guy fall down.
Exactly.
You know, I like the girls. But then watching it again as I got older in syndication, then I started seeing more things. You know, I started seeing how funny Mr. Roper was,
Mhm.
how he would break the fourth wall,
Oh, yeah.
how he would make fun of Helen and then look right at the camera. You know, that shit was so hilarious, and he did it all the fucking time. But then on the same
This fucking shit-eating grin of his.
and on the same breath, he also loved his wife.
Yes.
You know,
He had moments where he could cheat.
Yeah,
Both of them did.
Exactly, and
But
never did.
Nope.
Yeah,
They were eternally loyal to each other.
Yep. But he had some of the best jokes. Like, they were so funny. You know, one that I always think about, and every time it comes on, I'll record it and I'll send it to my cousin, even though it's like he's seen it 100 times. I'm just like, this is so fucking funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Roper's laying on the couch, and she has cucumbers on her eyes, and he's like, "What is that?" And she says, "It's for wrinkles." And he's like, "Well, it's working because you got a gang of them there." That is so fucking funny to me. You know what I mean? That is so funny. And then he just looks at the camera and laughs.
And then he's like,
yeah. A lot of people didn't like it when Mr. Furley came in.
You know, Don Knotts, you either love him or you hate him, because it's just really his shtick is mugging. And if you're not going to laugh at his bug eyes or his, pursed lips, then you're not going to find him funny. I think what was funny about him was the fact that he thought he was such a macho dude.
Oh, yeah. He fully believed it.
He thought he was the shit, and he was this twig, and he knew karate.
Yeah.
You know, and these hands are lethal weapons.
Yeah.
You know, it was just fucking stupid, but he was a different kind of funny from the Ropers.
There is like other things that happened on the show that kind of tainted it, you know, while the shit was going on, you know, like with Suzanne Summers' husband ruining things for her. That was really shitty.
He didn't just pull her from the show. It was like he ruined friendships.
Oh, yeah. Lifelong friendship.
Lifelong.
Yeah. Like that was really, really fucked up.
Yes.
You know, even the Ropers, you know, again, I love Don Knotts. I love Ralph Furley, but you know, the way they did the Ropers, that was dirty too. And it was just a money move. You know, it was just the studio saying, well, fuck, everyone loves the Ropers. Let's give them their own show. We'll have 2 shows and we'll be able to make twice the money.
Right.
You know, and Norman Fell and Audrey Lindley didn't want to do the show. You know, and that's why he said, if I don't like it, or if it doesn't work, can I come back? And they told him, yeah, but they never brought him back. You know, it's like so shitty.
That's Hollywood.
Yeah. And it's funny because then, you know, then they basically told, you know, everyone that the show was ending.
Yeah.
And the reason why it was ending is because they wanted to give John his own show.
Yes. Which was what? Three's a Crowd?
Three's a Crowd.
Yeah.
You know, which I was like, come on, it's the same setup. It's like now he's married and his father-in-law is his landlord and of his apartment and his restaurant. So it's like it went from like Mr. Angelino was his fucking landlord at Jack's Bistro, and Mr. Furley was his landlord, and it went into one person. So it was like, it just, and it didn't work for me. The show did not work. It didn't have the same flavor.
A lot of people said the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest. Three's Company was ever present when I was young. It was always on. Never really paid it much mind. Really didn't know much by Ritter outside of the Problem Child movies, which I couldn't stand. So that was like my introduction to him without really knowing. I did like a movie called Stay Tuned, where him and his wife are stuck in the television, like a satanic cable.
Yes.
That was funny. But yeah, I didn't have much to base Ritter on.
Yeah.
When my wife got pregnant back in 2007, she got me into a show called 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter.
Okay.
That's when I really started to watch John Ritter.
Yeah.
And that was such a sweet and funny show that I was like, wow, this guy's awesome, you know. And then he died.
Yeah.
He died somewhere around season 2. And for the first time, I was really heartbroken. I was like, oh man, I was really finally starting to appreciate this guy. And I remember like yesterday, you know, wanting to getting choked up when it showed like the little montage of him at the end of his final episode.
Oh, yeah.
And the part where he sees his kids go and he waves and says, "Off you go."
Yeah.
And then they put his dates underneath them. And it fucked me up for like a good week. But my wife said, if you really thought he was funny, you should get into Three's Company. And I'm like, why don't we do that then? Because, you know, we didn't have much to do while she was pregnant. It was just kind of, we'd both work, come home, put on something and eat dinner while watching it, you know.
Yeah.
And we would binge shows. And so I think she had the first and maybe second season of Three's Company. And I was the one after season 2 that I'm like, I'm going out and buying you the rest.
Mm-hmm.
It was me that was going to stock this collection.
Yeah.
We blew through the whole thing. And more than ever, I became a huge John Ritter fan in retrospect. It was very bittersweet to go through that series and realize what a comic genius we lost. And then I do this to myself, but I read Amy Yazbek's book about him, and that was a gut punch. Beautiful, but I mean, you look at the cover to her book, and it's her and John. He's smiling at the camera. She's smiling up at him. And you just see the adoration in her eyes, you know, and it's like, how could you not love that guy? And it was just, the book was, it's a heartbreaker, but it's a solid read. If
You know, she never dated or remarried.
Nope. And I got to give her props, man. I mean, it just proves how much of an impact their relationship was.
Absolutely.
How hard it must have been.
Yeah.
Probably still is,
Yeah.
you know. But his progeny lives on. I do love Jason Ritter.
Yeah, he's great.
Funny guy. I liked him and blew me away when he was in Freddy vs. Jason. I remember seeing the name in the credits or something and thinking, Jason Ritter. And I'm like, he can't, you know. But it's like, he looks just fucking like his dad. He looks just like him.
Yep.
You know, I've been watching his show, a Matlock reboot.
Yeah, with Kathy Bates.
With Kathy Bates, which is fucking solid. He's on that, and it's just, yeah, he lives on through his kids. You know, it's super cool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I was late to the Three's Company party, but I really enjoyed it once I was there. And like you said, between the hilarity and the women, God, beautiful women. I was one who I really liked. Is it Chrissy Snow?
Yeah.
She the second one?
No, Chrissy is
Chrissy's Suzanne.
yes.
Who's
Cindy?
Cindy.
Jenny Lee Harrison.
Jenny Lee Harrison.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought she was like the hottest one of the bunch.
Yeah.
Even though I loved Suzanne Summers. But yeah, it was one of those where even when little changes would happen,
Right.
it really it really didn't affect the show in any negative way. I really enjoyed the whole run.
Absolutely.
So great pick for your last one there.
Yeah.
My final one is Cheers.
Oh,
1982 to I believe 93.
that's a hell of a run, man.
Great run. And one of the few shows I can say that never had a low point, never had an awkward season, never had to find its footing. It just always was exactly what you came here for.
Yeah.
Good Lord, what a fucking funny show. What a great ensemble cast. Loved everybody. Again, you brought up a good point about Night Court. What would a little kid have in common with Night Court?
Yeah.
Bailiffs, judges, prosecutors, you know. Same thing. I didn't have anything in common with Norm, Woody,
Right.
you know, Cliff,
Yeah.
a psychiatrist, you know, but it was fucking funny. And it was, I loved being there. And more so than any other show on this list, that bar in Boston is just feels like home. You know, that's one that I hear those first few bars from the clarinet during a cold open and I'm like, I'm in, dude. I'm like, I don't care what episode it is. I'm kicking back and watching it. You know, it was just perfect. And yeah, that's a show that just consistently stayed top notch. Shelley Long leaving was a heartbreaker moment, but then Kirstie Alley came in and was a whole different dynamic, equally funny, greedy. You know, she was a piece of work, but it was like nothing changed. Nothing got weird. Nothing became, you know, there was no shark jumping.
Not at all.
Yeah, that was one that I absolutely loved top to bottom. And I own that whole set.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do on DVD. And yeah, you don't have to threaten me with a good time if you tell me to put in disc 1, episode 1, and just kick it off. You know, I'll do it.
What a great show.
It was. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Consistently great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It never got boring. It never got weird. It never had an experimental season.
No, that's the thing. Like you watch a lot of these shows and you can see an awkward start or a peter out.
Yeah.
You know, one that comes to mind is Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Which started so funny, and by the end it was like clown shoe sound effects and goofy shit, and it was just weird. It just, it tapered out to the point where I didn't even care when it was done.
Well, I mean, I love My Name is Earl was on my list, but it also had the coma season.
Yeah.
Where he was in a coma,
yep.
And I was like, oh man, what is that? Did they fire the writers? Was there a writer strike? Because, because there's more to the story when that kind of shit happens.
Sure.
They don't just, they don't just take a hit show and consciously fuck it up.
Right.
So, but it's like, yeah, you're right, dude. With Cheers, that never happened.
Not once.
It never got weird. It always stayed the same. The bar stayed the same.
You always looked forward to Bar Wars with Gary's Old Town Tavern.
Yeah.
Because there was always a big twist.
Yep. Or even when the restaurant.
Oh, Melville's or whatever.
Yes. And then Carla started messing with him. And him and Sam were enemies because he owned the back room.
The bathroom.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, dude, this was so fucking funny, dude.
Bricked up the wall.
Yep.
Oh man, good shit. It was so funny consistently.
Very.
And just there's not a bad episode in the bunch.
Nope.
And that's a long fucking run.
That's a very long. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, no, 11 straight years of just top-notch writing,
Wow.
And that's one. Let me ask you this before we go.
Yeah.
Do you remember the series finale?
I don't.
So me and my dad, and even my brother Josh, all of us, there's a final moment on Cheers that really scared us all. And I remember it vividly, watching it the night it aired. And I believe Kirstie Alley's character met Tom Berenger. She found her meal ticket, but she actually fell in love with the guy. It wasn't just for the money. She left. Woody became a governor. He left.
Okay, yeah, it's coming back now.
And basically, Sam, Carla, Norm, Cliff, and Frasier just kind of sit at the bar while it's closed and just think about where life's taken them.
I remember it.
Okay. So finally, everyone leaves, and Sam stands at the bar. And Norm, of all people, is the one who gives them the sage advice. And he goes, I knew you couldn't leave this bar. And he goes, why not? And he says something like, because you can't give up your one true love. And he goes, I'll see you later, Sam. And he leaves. And Sam just kind of thinks about it, and he looks around and he goes, I gotta be the luckiest son of a bitch on earth. Because it hits him. Yeah. I'm my own boss. I've got my own place. I love these people. And then the silhouette of someone knocks on the door. And I learned later that it was the show creator, showrunner. You never see who it is. But Sam goes, sorry, we're closed. And the guy kind of lingers there and then walks off. And for a millisecond, all of us thought Sam was going to die. Because it just, for them not to show the guy, for there not to be any music, it was a very quiet, creepy scene.
Yeah.
So the guy walks off. Sam goes to the back of the bar where the piano is. He straightens a picture of Geronimo, which I learned was in Coach's dressing room. The guy who played Coach.
Yeah.
So that was a quick little nod to Coach again. He straightens the picture, and then he puts his hands in his pockets and walks down the hall towards the pool room into the dark. And that's it. That's the end of the show. There's no music. It just kind of executive produced. And it was a very eerily quiet moment. But you come to find out that they said they wanted Sam to walk down the very hallway that we saw him come from in the opening episode. And that was the way they wanted to end it.
Right.
But for all of us, even watching it again years later, it's such a weird moment
Yeah.
that makes people worried. Because, you know, us as writers, usually you watch it and when someone realizes how lucky they really are, someone drops the bomb on them. And I'm like, as soon as Sam said, I'm the luckiest son of a bitch on earth, and that shadow appears in the doorway, it was a creepy moment.
Yeah.
And it was like, you can't do this to us after 11 years.
Right.
You know, your heart beats, you know, and you're like, oh, fuck. But then nothing happens and you're just kind of left with this odd feeling. But still, wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right.
No notes.
Absolutely.
Just fantastic program.
Absolutely. Great job.
Thank you. You too,
Thanks.
buddy.
Definitely.
And I definitely want to get back into Wonder Years.
Yeah, you should. And Freaks and Geeks.
And My Name is Earl.
Yeah.
Which I believe that was a shorter one, right?
It was a few seasons.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, until next time.
See you guys.